ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andreas. I'm the product manager of the Argon Dental Group for the German-speaking markets, and I'd like to welcome you here on our booth on the Infodental show in Frankfurt. And I will show you a little bit of our technology. In this case, we will start with our very unique products for augmentations. These are allergenic materials from the Charité University in Berlin. They are called, the product is called Osteograft. We have for very interesting augmentation cases. We will show you a very special product which is brand new and worldwide exclusive. So please be prepared for some interesting use. We have the bone graft, the allergenic bone graft, in different specifications, in different forms, but it's always the same material. It's always the material from German bone donators, you know, and who are registered, and we have very strict criteria for selecting them. So that's the reason why we also have the certification for the German law according to the medicine. It's the highest level of security for the patient and for the doctor. So this material I show you here, it's a very special because it's a cortico-spongeous bone. We have them with three sides of corticalis here, and we have them in a double layer. And the layer here in 3 sizes is very interesting because we had the idea of doing a 3D plant augmentation with that material. So the idea was, we have, of course, when doing augmentations which make implantology possible, we have to face the problem that there's not enough bone in many cases. It's no problem for different augmentation techniques if you want to have a lateral augmentation. This is very easy. There are different techniques, mostly with membranes, but it's getting more demanding when we have to do vertical augmentations. And the worst thing is, of course, if we have a bone defect which is also horizontal and vertical. So in that case, we had the impression that a tree cortical bone, the tree cortical spongeous bone, has many advantages. But if we have the perfect adaptation, we need a perfect adaptation of the bone graft to the remaining jaw. So the idea we had to improve that augmentation, to make it faster, to make it more reliable, was to use digital techniques like the 3D exam and also the STL file of the patient's model. So the combination of both with our technology and our knowledge led to a very interesting product. I show this to you. You can take here a broad view of the machine we have developed. What we are doing here is we have, a guide. We are producing a guide which is copied by this milling machine to the bone graft. We have the guide here and the bone graft there, and it works parallel. It's parallel copy phrasing. On this image here, you can see the result of the guide and the ready-to-use phrased bone. This ready phrased bone is perfect for the operation. We do this simultaneously to the operation itself. We're doing this in the dental clinic. So what is very positive, it's all you get all the material from one hand. You get it from the doctor who does the surgery, and you get our dental technician with our technology milling the bone here right in the dental clinic. We can show it to you on another image and a video in a very interesting case. An interesting and relative easy example of a 3D blend bone block you can see here. We have here, the printed model of a bone defect, and here we had the defect, after the extraction of these tooth. So we had a very deep defect because there were problems when healing. So we designed here a bone graft like this. This is a virtual bone we planned, and we will show you now on the video how we did it with our technique to mill that bone. This is also a very interesting case where we had a defect situation like this. You know, this was the situation of the patient, the model of the 3D exam in DICOM data set. Here we have the results of the planned bone blocks that we will reach this in the end after the surgery, after the bone milling, this result here. So you see here, in this case, 4 different bone blocks we used in just one jaw, in this case the upper jaw. Another very interesting example, it was the same patient at the lower jaw. At the lower jaw we have also designed 2 bone blocks. You can see them here, you know, like this, close to the foramen mentalis, and in the other jaw, this bone block here. So a perfect case, you know, for vertical augmentation. And for the vertical augmentation, it's the only real successful technique. I will show you now the milling process. By the way, there's one more thing before we continue. It's also possible to do a 3D planning, not only of the bone block itself, but also of the implants. Placing the implants digitally through a surgical guide can also lead to a situation where we can combine both operations, the augmentation and also placing the implants in just one step, in just one surgery. The only thing which is important is that the vascularization of the patient is pretty good. But in this case, this technique works very well. We will show you how. So what you can see here are the sterile bone blocks, you know, after they've been removed from the packaging. And now here you see the milling process. Here we have the guide that you can see, and here is our skilled dental technician who does the milling. Another example of milling of the bone. The idea is, and now here you can already see our surgeon placing, you know, the bone block. And this bone block fits like a puzzle piece. It fits perfectly. And here you can also see if the suturing will work well, or if we maybe need a membrane. And you can see the bone block here is already bleeding. The vascularization of our bone graft material is extremely good, and this is the main reason for these good results we can create. Let's take another closer look at the milling itself. The idea why we're doing this manually and not digitally. The guide is produced digitally, but the phrasing is done manually. The reason is we want to keep the cortical bone of this bone graft. The cortical bone gives us, you know, the stability that we will not have any issues. So once again, the reason why we're doing the milling itself manually is because we want to keep here the cortical bone for the crestal side. On the crestal level, we always need cortical bone. So then we have no resorption. If we would have pure spongeous bone, we might face resorption. And as we don't want this result, we have decided to do the milling manually, because our skilled dental technicians can keep then the cortical bone where it belongs. You can see the fixation of the bone blocks. We do the fixing, you know, with osteosynthesis screws. You can see this one is already fixed and it's perfectly bleeding in. And this is the next one, which we adapt and check if it fits. Now we see the final adaptation of the bone block. Fits very well, it's already bleeding. And here you can see the osteosynthesis screw being put in, and here you see the result. Here on the other side, one side, we used 3 screws. And this is the side where we did 3 bone blocks, 3 individually milled bone blocks. They're already perfectly bleeding. Very nice result. So what we are also offering with Osteograft are very nice membranes. We have a fascia lata membrane, or also Epiflex, which is of course a skin that we use for guided tissue regeneration. You can take a look here. In a case like this, to protect the augmentation, we always use the fascia lata membrane, because it's absolutely bacteria tight, and it lasts for at least 6 months. It protects the augmentation for 6 months, and in fact this is the time we need until we are ready for placing the implants. One more time, fascial membrane. Yeah, our surgeon was pretty fast. He's already started to do the suturing. So here you can see after a post-surgical panoramic image, the result, what we have. We have one bone block here, which has already been simultaneously placed with the implants. We have another one here, also fit nicely. And then we have this case, this very interesting case with one bone block here, there. Here's another one, and this is the fourth one in the upper jaw. The pins you can see here are also for fixation of the membrane. Take a look at the result, after 6 months. This was the situation after the operation, and this is the situation after 6 months. What you can see here is vascularized bone. What is also an interesting technique is in case the milled bone blocks, they are very individual, of course. Some of them are thick, some of them are very thin. In cases they are very thin, it's of course important to take a look at the osteosynthesis system, that this works very well. So it can be recommendable to even do to plan a surgical guide, for placing the osteo screw. Here you can see a guided system, how you can fix a bone block, also guided. It's individually made, and so then we know that the screw is in the perfect position. On this image here you can see the surgical guide for the implants, for the immediate placement of the implants together with the bone block. See here, when doing the immediate implantation, we use this screw here. In fact, it's just a large cover screw of an implant with a pretty high gingiva height. So this is also perfectly to fix the bone block together with an implant with a progressive screw design. This is this image here. You can see exactly the situation directly after the surgery, and the result 6 months later with the gingiva formers already on top. You can see already we get vascularized bone here. We can already detect the minerals here at this thicker aspect of the bone, and soon we will have them here as well. It's a very nice result. So to finish our presentation now, we want to take one last look to the technology, to that what the customer already gets. What he gets from us after we did the research, after we did the planning, is of course here the 3D printed model of the bone situation. Like you can see it here. Then of course he gets the bone blocks. The individually planned bone blocks, also printed, so that you can see how they will fit, how the result looks. You can see it's fitting very well. Oh, I made a mistake here. This one here is block number 5. Here the block number 4 also fits nice. And here, we have the number 6. It's not always an easy fit, because there's also still some work to do for the doctor to perfectly adapt them. But really they fit like a Lego piece, like a puzzle piece. And this is the result that he will actually get after 6 months of healing. Own vascularized, stable bone ready for implants. And here you can see the guides that we definitely need for copy milling. After the doctor gave us the okay for the planning, after he has received the printed models, and he says, okay, go ahead. We're just doing then, we do the preparation here of the surgical guides. They are made, you know, on a all digital 5-axis milling machine. We have one upper side, you know, for the cortical side of the bone. To keep the cortical side perfectly, then our technician, he turns the side, and he needs the lower side, of course, of the spongeous side of the bone. With the spongeous side of the bone, here he can copy that on the bone graft as well. This is very, very important because especially the adaptation of the spongeous bone makes our technology fit like puzzle pieces, like Lego pieces. Very important.